It's where all the cool kids go. The friendly info will show you around. We reward him with the fresh souls of our customers. Shadows, t-shirts, winter tees, and so much more. Lights on deck, horror shop you will never want to leave. Your friendly info will show you around. We reward him with the fresh souls of our customers. Candles, t-shirts, weather tees, and so much more. Deadites on deck, horror shop you will never want to leave. Watching movies with a dead chick and the gang, funny, strange, hysterical, or just plain bang bad. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch-along weekend. Oh, it's sci-fi, comedy, and more. We got it all this weekend. This weekend just got amazing. It's a watch-along weekend. Horror and sci-fi, comedy, and more. We got it all this weekend. Howdy, gang, and welcome to the House on Sorority Row watch along. Hey, the poet, you say you've seen the remake and you don't mind it. I can't recall if I even took a look at it. I think I probably just assumed that I wouldn't like it and probably stayed away from it. But perhaps I should give it a chance. I don't know. Sometimes I don't give these things a chance just based on previous things, and perhaps I should. So I can't remember if I even watched that one or not. But tonight we're going to be watching the original House on Sorority Row, with, and people will laugh, but that's okay. One of my favorite bands that I discovered through watching this movie, and that's the house band on House on Sorority Row. And it's 4 out of 5 doctors, and they're listed as like new wave type of rock music, but some of their stuff sounds like new wave, but some of it just sounds like regular pop rock to me. But maybe I just don't know my music. So I will definitely point out the band 4 out of 5 doctors when we get to that point. I'm not sure how many people we'll have in here tonight. I want to apologize in advance if I seem a little off my game. I was not feeling well earlier. I felt well most of the day, but and during the last hour, I didn't feel very good. So, but I still wanted to do this watch along. So if y'all will just bear with me if I seem like I'm just a little off my game. But before we get to the movie, I'll get some housekeeping stuff out of the way, and then we'll get into this watch along. And I believe for those that, I do have a link for the movie in case you guys and gals that are wanting to watch along don't own a copy of it. And you should be able to click on that link, and I believe that's a YouTube link for House on Sorority Row. so that if you want to watch along with me as we're doing this watch along, you can. If you already have a copy, of course, I am. I'm watching the Scorpion released Blu-ray. I think there's been a few releases of this movie, but whatever version that you are using, we'll try our best to get you synced up. But again, we'll get to that here in just a second. I wanted to remind everybody to hop on over to deadicesondeck.com, my horror shop. Tell them Poe sent you. And this is Poe. He's the official mascot of the Deadites on Deck horror shop. And I have been working on the official Poe plushie. This is the head. I haven't got it stuffed yet because the videos I've looked at said if you want to put eyes on it, the eyes being these, you need to put the eyes on it before you put the stuffing in there and sew it the rest of the way up. But I did get his right foot completely uh, sewn and stuffed, and I don't think it turned out too bad. So hopefully y'all have him all together here soon so I can show you guys and gals what he will look like. And I'm sure every one of them's not going to be the same. This material, I mean, you could get him in this material if you wanted to, but I do have this material that I think I'm going to try to make a sample Poe out of this material as well. Um, but I'm not sure on the cost of them or anything like that. I'm going to have to, figure out how much the material and all the, stuff to make him cost. And, of course, my labor cost because these are sewn by hand. I'm not using a machine to sew them, and they will be made to order. I will not be, other than these two that I'm making for myself, and so that I have samples, I will not be making any unless somebody actually orders them. So keep in mind there will be a little bit of a wait time before you actually receive them because you don't want to make a bunch of stuffed Poes, and have them sitting around and nobody buys them. So they will be made to order. Um, so there's that. There's a few new designs for t-shirts and tote bags and hats and even candles if you wanted it on a candle. Um, uh, there's a few designs like the Lethal Ladies Inc. An alternate logo. That is Candace and I's collective selling entity for when we start selling at conventions, because we can't be under our separate entities. If I can't be under Dead Ice on Deck and hers is Crawling Eye Art. We would have to combine our forces, and that's where the Lethal Ladies Inc. comes from. Um, so there's some new logos up for that. There is some Poe designs, some Evil Dead Chicken Poe designs, some coming soon. The World of Stephen King design. I've gotten some comments on the World of Stephen King design. The Night Crew design is coming soon with the characters from Intruder. If you're a fan of that movie, I certainly am. And a bunch of other designs are on the way, folks, including RJ, who is named after Kurt Russell's character in The Thing, in John Carpenter's The Thing. He is the friendly monster who is the mascot for the movie Munchies. So there are going to be plushies of him coming soon as I get a pattern made up for him. But I got to get Poe done first before I start on anything else. Um, and if you're not a horror fan, never fear. I do custom work on the shop. There's a form on the homepage of the shop, and you can let me know what you want. I can put you and your significant other, your kids, your grandkids, your pets on t-shirts and hats and tote bags and all that good stuff. If you have an idea for a candle scent, run it by me. I might be able to create that for you. Just let me know. And if we come to an agreement on price and you send me the money, I will be glad to work on whatever your creation may be. So just keep that in mind. So if you have friends and family members that maybe want something, um, a design put on a t-shirt or a hat or a tote bag or whatever that's not horror related, hey, run it by me. You never know. I may be able to fulfill that for you. Um, let's see. We got some more Dick's Pigs. We got some more cannon fodder. They're all messed up, all coming up next week, barring, anything happening. Like severe storms or illness or anything like that. I hope I don't have that. Um, we're going to have another watch along tomorrow night. Now, I know it is Easter Sunday tomorrow, folks, and I fully expect that I probably won't have very many, if any, for the initiation watch along. But if you've got nothing better to do tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, then feel free to hop on over and hang out with me and we'll watch the initiation together. I'm always game for that, for watching movies with people. Um, and so there should be a movie munchies for Children of the Cornbread Salad that should be dropping next Sunday. These are pre recorded videos now. There is a movie roulette coming up Monday. The Dead Pit Boys picked a couple of films. They gave me $5 each, and CK picked Into the Pit, the Dead Pit documentary from a few years back. I'm looking forward to rewatching that again and giving my thoughts on it now versus my thoughts on it years ago when I watched it. And Uncle Bill's pick was Necromantic 2, which, sorry, Uncle Bill, I'm not really looking forward to watching it, but you gave your $5, so I'm going to watch it and review it. So that's coming up on Monday. Um, Tuesday, of course, is Dick's Picks. Wednesday is Cannon Fodder. Thursday is They're All Messed Up. And we didn't have a Friday Foolish this Friday, but hopefully next Friday, me and Candace will be able to do Friday Foolish. I've got a couple of late Fridays that are coming up in May, and that may put a kink in our plans. But, it is what it is, but we'll work through it. And so, speaking of movie roulette, and also, Menelec gave some money, and his pick was Jeepers Creepers. So there will be another upcoming movie roulette. Hopefully, somebody else will pick another movie because I like to cover two movies during movie roulette. But movie roulette is basically this: during any live stream I have, that includes these watch alongs. You can give a $5 or more super chat, and you get to pick any movie for me to watch and review, even if I've said I've hated it in the past. You never know. I might like it this time around. So anyway, um, I think that is it. Oh, VHS Overload. That's a new series, kind of a sporadic series. I've got the debut episode of that up. If you haven't checked it out, you should run on over like after this watch along and check that out. And also, there's things you can do to support the channel that don't cost you a dime, folks. You can like, you can subscribe, you can hit that notification bell, and you can share my channel with friends and family members that you think might be interested in the content I'm putting out. Okay. So just keep all that in mind. You can support the channel and not have to give me one thin dime, folks. So those are three ways that you can, boost up my algorithms and get me ever closer to 1,000 subscribers. And then you'll get to see me and Candace do our cosplay that we promised to do if I get up to 1,000 subscribers. I'm over 900. I need a few more, folks, but I'm not going to browbeat anybody or anything like that. Just wanted to bring that up. Um, and I'm not going to be sending a mailer out or anything, or sending anybody to your door to convert you if you subscribe to my channel. You can be anonymous as far as that goes. You don't ever have to be in the chat or anything. You can come by or watch the things that you want to watch, and that'd be all she wrote. Um, so anyway, I think that is it for housekeeping stuff. So where am I queued up to? And I'll give everybody a minute or two that might be watching along tonight a chance to get queued up on their respective copies. So on this Blu-ray, the Scorpion Blu-ray, I am queued up 16 seconds in on Artist Releasing Corporation. And like I said, I'll give everybody a minute or two that's going to be watching along. Time to get queued up. If you come in later, need a timestamp, please ask. And I will be glad to give that to you, or I'm sure somebody else that's watching along will be glad to give that to you. If you come in and barring it not being a few seconds before the movie's over and I'm going to get off of here for the night, and you want to join me live on the stream for this House on Sorority Row watch along, please ask and I'll make sure you get the link. And we'll get started here in about a minute or so. So if anybody has any questions about anything before we get started, I'll give it a few more seconds here, and then we'll go ahead and do the countdown and get started. Because I usually like to start these things about 7:20 or thereabouts. And again, I apologize for, I hate it when I feel good most of the day and then, an hour before time to start something, I get to feeling bad. The Poet, you want to know how long the movie is? It's 92 minutes. And this was released in 1982 as well, in case you were wondering. And the Poet, did you need the YouTube link to the movie? Because I can post it in the chat. I'd be glad to do that. In fact, I might do that anyway. Let's see if we can do that. So I put that link in the chat in case anybody wants to use that link to watch along with the movie. So let's okay. So let me know if that link doesn't work for you, the Poet. The link I just put in the chat, and I'll be glad to repost it or re-look it up or whatever. Since you may be trying to get synced up, I will wait a little bit longer to help you out there. The Poet, I appreciate you, by the way, showing up for a lot of my streams and stuff. I appreciate the support. Somebody that I've been kind of worried about is Russell. I don't know if anybody is. Russell is our Canadian friend and a huge supporter of the channel, but I have not seen him around. Has anybody else seen him, anywhere else in anybody else's streams? I was just concerned about him, is all, because I hadn't heard from him for a while. And that goes not just for the Poet, but that goes for anybody that might be. It's on Tubi as well. Okay, that's fine, the Poet. Yeah, I don't mind whatever way y'all want to watch it. Works for me. I'm not picky. All right, so we'll go ahead and do the countdown and we'll get started here. So here we go. 3, two, one. Press play. And we are off and running here. Starting out June 19th, 1961. Something I think is, but this is just me thinking it's funny. I always say, why ask why? This is horror movie logic. But this woman here, who is going to be revealed to be Mrs. Slater, the house mother for the college, many, many moons later, she looks just slightly younger than she does by 1981 or 1982 standards. And this is supposed to be, she's supposed to be younger and she's supposed to be giving birth here. I'm willing to bet that is not that woman's body. I can almost guarantee that's not that woman's body. That is more than likely a young woman. And what's going on here, especially if you're listening to the dialogue, I've got the subtitles on for me. Um, that it may be confusing some of the dialogue that's going on. The doctor says she's the last one and all that. Some of it's going to come to light, but I think they probably, maybe not, but I think they probably wanted to leave some stuff kind of mysterious to throw you off. Now, this makes it appear that her baby has died. So now we fast forward to modern times in 1981, 1982. Not modern now, but, um, and these are evidently college girls that are going to be graduating and they're heading, I guess, across campus to have their picture taken in their caps and gowns. Sorry, a couple of my dogs have come in here. For those of you guys and gals that watch soap operas back in the day, you will notice there's one gal here, Ellen Davidson is her real name, who right there um, may look familiar to you if you watched soap operas back in the day, and that is because I believe she on All My Children. I can't remember if it was All My Children or One Life to Live. I want to say All My Children, but and Harley Kozak, um, she was probably in other stuff, but I do know that she had a small part in When Harry Met Sally as Harry's ex-wife. And we can see that most of the girls are getting ready to go home for the summer, except for the small group of sorority girls who are planning for a big party. And most of the houses are closing up for the summer. And Mrs. Slater, that's what she had planned. And this is her house. And she's planning on the girls, leaving all the girls. And then she even says, I always close up the house on this weekend. So we see one of the girls, this is one of the main girls, having a talk with her mother. Um, Catherine is having a talk with her mother, and her mother keeps, insinuating that maybe Catherine ought to come home for the summer. And she's like, I told you, Mom, I'm not coming home. She says, you could swim all summer when you come home. And she says, I'm not moving back home, Mom. And this is probably a kind of conversation that a lot of girls in college had with their mothers. And I don't think her mom's trying to be hurtful, but she does make the comment that, well, you think after 4 years of college, you would have known what you wanted to do with your life. So we find out that several of the other girls are staying, and she's told by her friend that you know don't worry about a date for Friday night because we got you fixed up with somebody. So here is modern day Mrs. Slater. She sees the little boy playing with the ball, and she seems very disturbed by this. And there's the doctor. And she's telling the doctor, I intend to spend this summer like I've spent every summer. And that her house is closed for 3 months. And he's telling her she needs to be in a controlled environment. And she says, I am in a controlled environment. And he mentions his condition is getting worse. So, you thought her baby died. So who are they talking about? Hey, Brian. It's been a while since I've seen you, but thank you for the rose. So he also is giving her a a, a tag, a necklace. Um, Looks like some kind of medical alert thing, and he's saying it must be worn at all times. And this is Vicky, Ellen Davidson's character. And Vicky's a little bit of a troublemaker, as we're going to find out here. And her boyfriend is supposed to be teaching her how to shoot a gun, but it appears like Vicky already knows how to shoot the gun. And she gets mad at him because he's wanting to, mess around with her, evidently, instead of shooting a gun. Brian, you say, yeah, I haven't been getting on YouTube as much, especially during the time frames you were on. Still dealing with post op issues from kidney stone surgery. Ew. Yeah, well, you make sure you rest up. But I'm glad to see you in here tonight. I totally understand. People have to, they have to take breaks. Even I have to take breaks from doing this stuff from time to time. And there's Harley Kozak there in the black CBGB shirt. And so the girls are, hanging out and kind of having a little party. Mrs. Slater is back. She's expecting the girls to be all cleared out. So she's going to be none too thrilled. Guys and gals, I'm going to step away here. I think the dogs might need out. Come on, girls. So Mrs. Slater has caught them and she wants to know, why are they still here? Why haven't they left? And Mrs. Slater tells them there'll be no party here. The house is closed and I want you all out by tomorrow. Now, we all know that that's not going to happen. And they're curious why she always closes the house on the weekend of June 19th. And we know from seeing the beginning of it, that's when the issue with her baby happened. So we're seeing some different pictures of Mrs. Slater with the different sorority girls over the years. And that seems, fairly normal, right? That is a cool ass cane, though, that Mrs. Slater has. So she's taking a gander at the pictures. And again, the pictures look fairly normal. Mrs. Slater smiling slightly over the years with the different groups of girls. And then we see the pictures being torn up. So Mrs. Slater is tearing up all the pictures and throwing them into the fire. And then the cane comes down right on Vicky's face in the picture. So, speaking of Vicky, Vicky is back with her boyfriend, and they're getting frisky, it looks like. And she's like, not here. And he's like, well, why not? And he said, we always do it here. And she says, well, not tonight. And she's been waiting for her boyfriend, Rick. And oh no, Mrs. Slater is, she's prowling around. This cannot end well. We see Mrs. Slater is up in the attic, and there are toys up there. And then we're back to Vicky and Rick. Well, actually, Brian, and thank you for stopping by. But I did want to bring up, I'm doing something called Savage Debate now. I'm not really doing them on a regular basis, but you might want to check out the Savage Debate I did talking about the Slumber Party Massacre series versus the Sorority House Massacre series. Um, so check that out when you get time. Let me know what you think about that, because I like that idea. So we're flashing back and forth between Vicky and Rick and Mrs. Slater coming down the hall. Like I said, I don't think Mrs. Slater's going to be too happy with Vicky here. Keep in mind, Vicky's got a water bed, folks, and Mrs. Slater's got that cane with a very sharp end on it. Uh oh. It's doing major damage to that water bed. And Vicky is really pissed. And she tries to chase Slater. She's calling her a bitch and then to add insult to injury, she falls down. Vicky, that is, not Mrs. Slater. And Vicky's mad at everybody. He says, she tried to kill me and my waterbed got messed up and all you guys can do is joke about it. Hold on, folks. Sorry, folks. So Vicky's trying to think of a way to get back at Mrs. Slater. Sorry, gang. Wipe that over there for a second. Okay. I think these subtitles are weird sometimes where they don't give the people's name, they just say woman and man. Not all subtitles do that, but some of them do. And so we're back to the doctor, and we're not sure if he's talking about Mrs. Slater having a psychotic break or there's something else going on. I mean, he does say patient's advanced stage is aggravating the condition. It's like her, because she had to deal with the traumatic event when she gave birth, and now it's like her mental health is breaking down. But we noticed that earlier when he was talking to Mrs. Slater, he said he. And indeed, Mrs. Slater is going to wake up to a really big surprise. She's going to come down and have a fit because they're preparing for this party, even though she's told them not to, that there will be no party. She wants them to take all that junk down. And again, she says, I want you to pack your things and get out of this house. And Vicky stands up to her and says, well, what if we don't? So evidently, someone has taken Mrs. Slater's cane. And they put it on an old tire, it looks like, out in that dirty old pool. And they've laid Mrs. Slater's cane there. And Vicky says, go ahead, take a swim. You like getting people wet, don't you? And then Vicky adds insult to injury by pointing the gun at Mrs. Slater. So it appears that Liz got shot by accident. And she's forcing Mrs. Slater to get in that dirty, nasty pool. And she shoots the gun, and it appears that it's blanks. And Liz is not injured. And then Mrs. Slater hits Vicky with the cane. The gun goes off again, and it appears that this time around, Mrs. Slater was a casualty. Now, whether it was by a real gunshot or a heart attack brought on by fear, um, we don't really know. I think it's more along the lines that appears like a heart attack. And the band's there. So, what are they going to do? I think I may have called that one girl Liz. I think that might have been Stevie. So Catherine or Katie says that she's going to call the cops, and Vicky's like, you can't. Which is a hallmark of these types of movies. Somebody always wants to call the cops when something bad happens. We got to call the police. No, we can't. There's always a BS reason why they can't call the cops. Of course, if they did call the cops, then there wouldn't be a movie, right? So they're going to hide Mrs. Slater's body in the pool. Because why? Because it's so dirty and filthy. Who would be able to discover her body there? So now, remember when I said the house band was 4 out of 5 doctors? This is 4 out of 5 doctors. Yes, they were a real band. I assume this is them singing. Um, Again, I know people will laugh, but I really like this band. I bought a couple of their albums on vinyl. just because I like their music so much after hearing them on this movie. I went to a lot of record shops around town and nobody had any 4 out of 5 Doctors records. And Steve was like, well, what do you expect? Y'all may see me brushing something away. We've got daggone ants again. I don't know what we're going to do about those things. And we're seeing that it appears that maybe Mrs. Slater ain't dead after all, right? So, gang, I hate to. Don't anybody run away. I'm just going to take myself out of the stream for just a second and run to the restroom, and then I will be back. My mic was muted. Sorry about that, gang. I was away more than I meant to be. Um, as part of me being sick. So hopefully I can stay in here for the remainder of this. I did not, want this to happen, but unfortunately, um, it does from time to time. So, you know, as I have seen this movie several times before, and we see that Harley Kozak's character is being taken out there, I believe. So they're still trying to hide Mrs. Slater so nobody finds her body. They pushed, I always thought this part was funny because they pushed the dumpster into the cop car. Sorry, gang, that I did have to step away once again. Doesn't look like there's anybody in here now, but that's a break. So sometimes you gotta step away. And they're telling the cop that at 1:43 in the morning they're taking the trash out. So I hope everybody has a very nice Easter with friends and family tomorrow. So Jeannie has been attacked, evidently with a cane. And Katie's poor Dave, he's getting left out all the way around. Ooh, old Coke cans, folks. Someone wants to steam it up in there, apparently. So what do you think, folks? Think Jeannie is dispatched? So she inadvertently hurts her date, Peter, his feelings, because she says, it's getting late. I think you better go on home. And it's just because she's so distraught over friends being missing. So she found the necklace that the doctor gave to Mrs. Slater, and she calls the number, and they connected her to the doctor. Maybe that is Liz. So I'm guessing they're playing on burying Mrs. Slater in a grave. Let me see if the dogs went in. Oops. Come on, baby. Come on, Dolly. Dolly. So I think this doctor is very suspicious here. Oh, there's a dead bird. Of course, he's asking where Mrs. Slater is. So he's going to explain a little bit. He had evidently helped women 24 years ago that are unable to bear children, and that Mrs. Slater went through an experimental procedure because all she ever wanted was to have a kid. And he says the delivery was terribly traumatic, and ever since then, she's been in a world of her own. And then she asks, "Who's Eric?" So on June 19th, she always celebrates Eric, her baby's birthday. Uh oh. So she's found some of her dead friends there. So instead of finding Mrs. Slater's body in the pool, unfortunately, they found her three missing friends. Uh oh. There's that cane made an appearance again. So it looks as if that might be Mrs. Slater, but the hair looks weird to me. So now Katie's explaining the whole story to the doctor. Now it looks like they found Mrs. Slater and she was deceased. So that leads you to believe, well, who's killing everybody? So the doctor is giving Katie a mild sedative. And he also told her that the police weren't coming. Now, again, why would he not want the police to come? But, again, horror movie logic, why ask why? So the doctor's telling Katie that, Eric was born with some abnormalities, as were the other babies that were part of that experimental procedure. Eric spent every summer away from the clinic in the attic. And he said, I told Mrs. Slater that his condition was worsening. She wouldn't listen. And that Eric must have seen what happened to his mother from the attic window. So he's using her as the bait to get Eric to come out of hiding. But because, excuse me, because of the drug that the doctor gave her, she's hallucinating. She's seen Mrs. Slater's cane spinning around, Mrs. Slater appearing and disappearing, a couple dancing, her friends looking very dead. I always found this kind of creepy and very bizarre. So the doctor inadvertently shot poor Peter with the tranquilizer gun. Sorry again, folks, that I seem a little out of it. Still part of dealing with what I was dealing with earlier. So apparently, even though Katie is heavily drugged, she's trying to, I guess, make her escape. And he's telling her, Catherine, the only way to get Eric is to trap him. And he says, the boy downstairs is tranquilized. He's only tranquilized. I just want to help. But he says, I'd be ruined if anybody knew what I did. So somebody, not Catherine or Katie, but somebody knocked they attacked the doctor with the cane, Mrs. Slater's cane, then knocked him off the railing. So there we're getting our first good shot of Eric. Oh, and we got a head in the toilet. There was Jeannie's head. So we're down to the final few minutes of the film. We got about 8 minutes left. So I hope those of you that have been watching along have enjoyed this. If this is your first viewing of the House on Sorority Row, I hope you really, really have enjoyed it. I hope this encourages you to try it out without me talking over it. I think this is one of the better 80s slashers. So she's winding up the little music box with a little clown on it. And that is evidently the costume that Eric has been wearing some of the time. And as more than likely, Eric never grew up in his mind. So, of course, he's going to want to come try to get this little music box. So, Katie is having more hallucinations. So now we see Eric dressed as the clown. This is a very effective costume, by the way, for the killer to have. It's creepy. For those of you that have an aversion to clowns, it would be extra creepy. Me and my brother used to have one of those. Anybody ever have one of those as a kid? I would say that Katie's very resourceful here. So, is Eric dead or no? It appears not, because he just opened his eyes. We hear the music box music. Now, they probably never intended there to be a house on Sorority Row. A second one, but um, who knows? And there it says the party, the band, 4 out of 5 doctors. If you're at all interested in listening to their music, you can find some of their music out there. But I hope you guys and gals have enjoyed watching House on Sorority Row. For those of you that were in here with me tonight, I thank you and appreciate you stopping by, and appreciate that even though I stepped away for several minutes, you guys and gals, somebody was invariably still here when I came back, and some more joined in. And for anybody that'll watch this on the replay, I want to thank you as well. And I'll stay with y'all till the credits completely roll. I think that's the script supervisor worked on, was it some of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies? I believe it was. I didn't try to pronounce her last name because I'd probably massacre it. That's interesting. I didn't remember seeing that where it said music performed by the London Philharmonic Orchestra. The party songs composed and performed by 4 out of 5 doctors. All those songs I have listened to. And of course, this was rated R. So, once again, I hope you guys and gals have enjoyed this viewing of the House on Sorority Row. Tomorrow, I should be back once again at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the initiation. I think this is about the third time. Whoops, I had one pose pattern pieces. I think this is about the third time I've done a watch along for the initiation, but this is a popular film that people have asked for more than once. So be sure to, if you have free time tomorrow evening, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, be sure to tune in to watch as I discuss the initiation starring Daphne Zuniga. And with all that being said, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Saturday, folks, and enjoy your Easter Sunday with friends and family members. And let's kick off the work week right, folks, shall we? Hopefully, no snafus or anything like that. But I'm out of here for now, but I'll see everybody next time.